The players are starting to make their way out just from the dugout, which is on the left-hand side of where we are sat here on the pitch. Great atmosphere building here at Villa Park. And as Dean was saying there, this is huge for Arsenal. No win in their last 4 in all competitions for Arsenal and their title ambitions. This could well prove to be a pivotal game. It's all about showing strength, showing steel, and of course substance at those critical moments. That is what champions do, and this crop of players are of course new to that arena. A point against Villa today would send them back to the top of the table, and their away record should provide them with some confidence. They are the Premier League's best performing team on the road this term. They've conceded a joint low of 7 goals, and a victory today would represent a double over Villa this season. But the villains, well, they could provide an evil twist in this tale. They have scored in their last 5 home games, but they have only won 1 of those. And then, of course, there is the small matter of Unai Emery in the dugout. Friend or foe to this Arsenal side? We will soon find out. What a game in store at Villa Park as the teams line up right in front of us alongside that Premier League hoarding. And with that, I'm delighted to hand you over as the players start to shake hands from the opposition teams. Time to hand you over to our commentary team for today, the former West Ham, Norwich and England striker Dean Aston, alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterface.
Thank you, Reshmin. Afternoon, everyone. Well, next week the world's most fashionable figures will descend on the capital for the start of London Fashion Week. But London's newest collection of top stars are going through a bit of a downward trend. Talk of the title was in vogue after beating Manchester United on the 22nd of January. After all, Arsenal were 5 points clear with a game in hand over City, and they were playing with a style tailored for their young, energetic group. But they've taken just 1 point from 9 since. Classic Arsenal, or just a stumble on the catwalk? Arteta says he believes more than ever that this situation is reversible. Win today, go top, set a new agenda. But Unai Emery might have revenge in mind. Cut off after a tough start to his second season as Gunners gaffer, his patchwork Villa team came undone against Manchester City, but have taken 16 points from his 9 games in charge. And he would love to stitch up his former employees. Here are the two teams. Emi Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, a back 4 of Matty Cass returning to the team. It's rejigged after that defeat at City. Konza is joined by Mings and Moreno to make up that quartet. In midfield, McGinn, Kamara, Luis Buendia, and then Coutinho just behind Ollie Watkins in attack. For Arsenal, a couple of alterations for them. Ben White and Leandro Trossard are back in the team. Ramsdale is their goalkeeper. White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko, the 4 at the back. The holder is Jorginho, the £12 million signing in the window from Chelsea. Xhaka and Ødegaard, the captain. And then Saka, who scored the winner here last season. Leandro Trossard on the left-hand side. And Eddie Nketiah through the middle, desperate to make up for missing a couple of chances in that big game on Wednesday night. Over on Talksport 2 right now, Sheffield United continue their quest for promotion to the Premier League. Later, Everton and Leeds continue their fight to stay in the top flight. But right now on the world's biggest sports radio station, Arsenal are dressed to impress and determined to return to the top shelf. Villa in claret shirts with blue detail and white shorts. Arsenal all in black. Both players take the knee as part of the No Room for Racism campaign. And then Simon Hooper, our referee, will get us off and underway. Live on Talksport with Arsenal starting the game and Aaron Ramsdale starting the game almost in midfield, receiving the pass back from the centre circle, and immediately Arsenal go on the full court press inside opposition territory. They're attacking the goal away to our right. Villa attacking the goal away to our left. We are just left of the halfway line, about 15 rows from the front, in the perfect position to bring you live and exclusive national radio commentary on the big game of this Saturday afternoon. The former England and West Ham striker Dean Aston is here. And Dean, how Arsenal react might set the tone for the rest of the season.
Certainly will, and usually when they've been so good this season it's because they've had such a fast start. They need to, again today, they need to not allow Aston Villa and this Villa Park crowd to get themselves up, to feel like they're dominating. They need to do that. And that starts, I always think, with the forward players and that press as you talked about.
Well, keep your eyes peeled, because when Aston Villa are involved, there's usually something happening before the 15-minute mark. Before people have sort of settled in their seats, there's usually a goal. 17 goals scored across the season in the first 15 minutes of their 21 games. Here is Buendia bringing the ball down from the sky on the edge of the halfway line. He pushes it out to the left and finds Coutinho, skates forward at rapid pace, comes infield midway inside Arsenal territory. Douglas Luiz then shoots from distance, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick, and it was a bit of a waste for the blonde-haired Douglas Luiz, who Mikel Arteta says he knows him well from Manchester City, but knows him well enough to know that he wanted to sign him as well. They tried twice over the summer to do so.
Yeah, and he's certainly improved. Zinchenko, Buehler taking a chance though, as Aston Villa look to press.
And Aston Villa pressing high up, and Arsenal trying to beat that press. First of all, Zinchenko weaving past the challenge of Watkins, then Jorginho getting fouled, and it's back with Ødegaard, who flies it out to the far side. Xhaka just misses it. It's nudged on towards the left-hand side, and Leandro Trossard back in field to Zinchenko, who's just short of the halfway line inside Villa territory, just left of the centre circle, and Arsenal have got possession back again. Villa raised themselves for the big occasions. 4 of their 8 Premier League wins this season have come against the teams that currently sit in the top 7 of the table, and Arsenal will be aware of that. We've played 2.5 minutes, 0-0. Here is Xhaka into the penalty area on the left-hand side, played in by Trossard. Across goes Konsa and blocks his attempted cross. He rebounds and dribbles out towards the far side, and it's away for a throw-in to Arsenal down by the corner flag.
And is that something we're going to see more of today? That Xhaka run, that underlapping run Granit Xhaka makes so often, and did do early on in the season, that was so useful for Arsenal. It's a brilliant run there, and Trossard found it.
Saka takes it to the right side after Arsenal switched the play. Mikel Arteta standing on the edge of his technical area. His predecessor in the Arsenal dugout, Unai Emery, wearing dark clothes but a brown gilet today, is incredibly visible on the touchline, arms folded, a long slender figure of a man, watching as his team build up from inside their own half, and a wasted ball forward by Coutinho. No assists, no goals this season. Sends it up over the halfway line. It's now with Douglas Luiz, who chased it into the corner. Ben White's got back at him, and Douglas Luiz tucks it all the way back to Alex Moreno, who is the left back today, the Spanish star, who's actually played more games in Spain's second division than he has in the first. But he is a player who loves to bomb forward. Saka will have to be a little bit careful about that today, I think.
He's so good at that though, Saka. He does that defensive work almost as good as anybody who plays those wide positions. But you're right, Moreno will look to get forward when Villa have good possession.
He does his homework, Saka, as you would expect with someone who's got so many A-star grades. The ball is on the left-hand side with Aston Villa trying to come forward, but it's poor ball by Buendia, which goes out of play on this near side and away for a throw-in to Arsenal, deep inside their own territory. And Ben White will come across to take it on this near side. Back in his right full-back position. He was left on the bench on Wednesday night. And he's looking for a bit of movement in front of him, and Jorginho provides that, then runs into traffic, but Saka picks up the pieces and then turns the ball out towards the far touchline. Trossard scampering back into a left wing-back position, comes and collects it, and then runs forward over the halfway line, finds Zinchenko, who's hugging the touchline far side, tries to come infield, it's nabbed by Cash, and Cash goes on the power run, up over the halfway line, chips it over the top. Watkins goes speeding forward, he's isolating Saliba, he goes on the outside, gets the shot away and scores! Inside 5 minutes, Aston Villa in front. It's another early goal at Villa Park. It's 4 in a row for Ollie Watkins, and Arsenal's troubles continue. Matty Cash driving forward from right back, burning into opposition territory, releasing Watkins, who were on the outside of Saliba, and drove the ball home. And even Tom Hanks in the crowd here today can't believe that blockbuster start. Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0.
Well, it's going to be really tight, but it was the way he just held his run. Ollie Watkins, he's in terrific form, but once again, Arsenal, big gaps in the full-back area. Watkins straight away just spun in behind the gap that White had left, 1v1 against Saliba, and sometimes all it takes is a simple step over. Right foot over, take it onto the left foot, and he struck it brilliantly, low, firm, across the surface and past Aaron Ramsdale into that right-hand corner. It's a brilliant, confident finish from Ollie Watkins.
Arsenal, what are you made of?
But again, I mean, the gaps when they lost the ball there. Zinchenko was obviously high, Ben White was high, but then you've got your two centre-backs who have to then go out into those positions 1v1, and they don't really want to be out there. Saliba, flat-footed, done by a step over.
6.5 minutes gone. Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. And Unai Emery seems to have made a positive impact on Aston Villa. I must admit, when I watched them last week, and I watched them a couple of times recently, I saw them against Leicester, I didn't think they were very good at all, by the way. But they are a team, they're just functional, aren't they? They've been getting the job done. 6 points from 19 prior to today. 5 wins of the last 9 have come in Unai Emery's matches. But City and Leicester did expose their defensive frailties. It'll be interesting to see if Arsenal have got the capacity to come back and do the same. They need to show a little bit of resilience. Arsenal have shown the propensity to come back from a deficit before this season. They've actually won half the games in which they've conceded first in this calendar year, in this season, sorry. Millwall 1, Sheffield United 0 is the latest scoreline from the Championship over on Talksport 2, which you can get on DAB Digital Radio, or you can tune in via our app and you can flick between the two stations. But when Arsenal are involved, the entertainment usually follows.
Just a bit. And you're right. I mean, look, a massive test already for Arsenal. It was already before kickoff. But you concede such a goal. What does that do for your centre-backs all of a sudden?
Well, it gets everybody panicking, and they've lost the ball on the halfway line again, and Coutinho trying to flick it round the corner for the on-rushing Alex Moreno. Interesting that it was one of those fullbacks making a swashbuckling run forward when the ball was turned over that started that move for Aston Villa that led to their goal. Nketiah tries to get away from Boubacar Kamara, and Kamara then fouls him. It's a free kick 10 yards short of the halfway line, just right of centre. And Mikel Arteta, who was very bullish yesterday, talking about how his team needed to react and needed to be more efficient in both boxes in big games like that game against Manchester City. Talked about how he sat them down and made them re-watch it for clarity purposes.
Oh, video nasty.
Well, it wasn't that bad, was it? I mean, especially in the first half, I thought they were all right.
No, I thought they had their moments in certainly Brentford, Manchester City, Everton, and they've had the chance. Not that they haven't been creating chances either in those games.
No, and Eddie Nketiah, who has just gone down under pressure, was one of those who missed a couple. Here is Trossard down the left-hand side, producing a cross. Nketiah gets hold of it inside the area. He's trying to back into the defender and set somebody up. He tries to release it to the edge of the area, but he can't find a black shirt, and it's cleared away by Aston Villa. Strong tackle by Jorginho on Coutinho. That's going to be a free kick. And we played 10 minutes, and Aston Villa lead here by a goal to nil. And Jorginho punished for, well, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what for, because he got the ball.
I know, yeah. I guess if you make any contact now, you can expect that sometimes the referee will give a free kick if your studs are showing, or if you go in a little bit firm. Didn't feel like there was particularly a lot in that.
There was certainly no contact from Konsa on Eddie Nketiah, who previous to that incident had dived, really.
Most definitely.
Well, Aston Villa are certainly scoring more goals. Ollie Watkins has improved his output. He was probably getting chances before but missing them. He's not missing them anymore. It's 4 in a row for him. It was the first time actually on Sunday that he'd scored in 3 consecutive Premier League games, but 4 in a row is a new level. He hasn't scored that many goals over the course of the campaign, but he's been up for it recently, and he almost got another one, a gift from Ramsdale, because he was closing down the goalkeeper Watkins, and Ramsdale got befuddled, took too much time and almost lost out.
And I mean, he spotted a pass, and then at the last second Ramsdale, he realised it wasn't on and took that extra touch and allowed Watkins, who will work all day and press and close down,
Here's a cross into the box from the left-hand side by Trossard, which is repelled by Aston Villa. Jorginho wins it back, and now Zinchenko takes over. Centre point of the Aston Villa half. Villa leading by 1-0. Arsenal shooting towards the Holt end away to our right. It's flicked by Jorginho in behind his White. White lifts it over the goalkeeper, and it's cleared off the line by Tyrone Mings. Getting back to hook the ball clear. I'm not entirely sure it would have counted anyway because it was offside.
I think it was cleared off the line by Eddie Nketiah. I think that's what I saw. It was a brilliant run from Ben White. Brilliant as Saka had made that run inside. Ben White over the top. It came in. Eddie Nketiah then diving header in. But were you right? Was Mings the one that got the touch? It's incredibly tight. Whichever. Mings diving in. Nketiah head first. Either way.
I think Mings kicks it onto the head of Nketiah and it goes over the bar.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant from Tyrone Mings. Excellent clearance. I don't think it would have counted anyway because Ben White was in an offside position when he received the ball.
Yeah. I like that though. I think when they've got good possession like that, Ben White could do that a little bit more, I think. Give Saka that support and make the run off the back of Saka.
Well, we play 12 minutes and it is Talksport, and it's Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. Ben White's just got it in his boat race. That's going to hurt, and it was from quite a short distance. Don't want to mess up that face, by the way. He's a very handsome young man. Ball is back towards the midpoint of the Arsenal half, and Saliba sends it wide out towards the left, and Trossard now travels down the touchline. He's 3 yards in from the left side when he plays in Xhaka. Xhaka tries to centre it. It's blocked by Douglas Luiz, and it bounces out away towards the corner flag for a corner for Arsenal over on the far side.
Probably been Arsenal's best player, Leandro Trossard. He's gotten the ball, he's drove at Matty Cash, and he's had runners beyond him, Zinchenko and Xhaka. It's worked so far.
Arsenal a little bit concerned about Ben White after getting smacked in the face by the ball. And the physios are poised on the touchline as a short corner is taken. Into Jorginho, back to Trossard, who produced a cross left footed. It's a deep one. And Nketiah at the far post sends it down into a dangerous area. Saliba, it was a bit behind him, couldn't reach it. It's half cleared by Villa. Back in it goes from Saka, headed away by Boubacar Kamara, and then drops inside the centre circle, and Arsenal have got to rebuild again. Ødegaard, the captain, turning out towards the left side, patrolling down that touchline. Jorginho finds Trossard, another cross into the box, and Nketiah is waiting. He's going to get there at the second attempt. He's going to come back to Trossard, back into the centre, pushed away by Aston Villa, and they're hanging on a little bit there, Villa, because Arsenal are coming at them in surges.
Yeah, they're probing, aren't they, Arsenal? Unai Emery, though, he was furious there. Ollie Watkins in the control. They were 2v2, and that's what they want.
Yeah, they want that counter-attack. Zinchenko, though, has found Nketiah. Oh, dear. He's miscontrolled it. He saw the second action before he executed the first, and it popped off him and went backwards rather than forwards.
I mean, he's got so much energy, fantastic movement, Nketiah. He's still a little bit ragged, isn't he? With the odd touch here and the odd chance there against Manchester City, he should have scored.
He's just not clean, is he?
No, he's still, you wouldn't say he's clinical, would you? As yet. He's still got a good goal scoring record, but you just feel as if there's so much more to come from him.
It's Talksport, 15 minutes gone, and later on today you'll know that we've got Around the Grounds with Adrian Durham from 2:30. Everton Leeds is on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. What a fantastic game that's going to be. That is going to be compelling listening on Talksport 2 a little bit later on today. You can flick between the two stations if you download the app. And then the Arnold Cup continues tomorrow on Talksport with England in action once again. The Lionesses. That'll be another good game. The ball is on the near touchline with Ben White, who plays it infield towards the right edge of the penalty area. Across goes the stumbling, bumbling figure of Moreno, just manages to just get it out and away from Ben White, and for a throw-in by the corner flag away to our right-hand side. And Arsenal have possession once again. Slate grey skies over this wonderful old stadium. They've just had planning permission actually to extend Villa Park, and it's thrown in towards the near post. It's come out of the penalty area after a header from Douglas Luiz, but Gabriel's got it back for Arsenal. Right corner of the area is Ødegaard, funneled through to Jorginho. Lovely little pirouette and sends it wide for White to cross into the near post. Away, comes back to Saka! Left-footed volley into the roof of the net, and Arsenal are level. Well, Tyrone Mings' header at the near post was a poor one. It fell straight into the path of Bukayo Saka. He's not going to miss from there. It's a cracking finish for Bukayo Saka, the boy with magic in his boots, the world at his feet, and a goal that makes it Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 1.
Oh, it's been coming, hasn't it, though, from Arsenal? They've been probing down the left and the right-hand side, and it's Ben White who's involved. Just played down the right, he whips that cross in, and you're right. Tyrone Mings has to head that back towards Ben White. He cannot head that back into his own area. It sits lovely, though, for Bukayo Saka. Just about hip height. He waits for it just to drop an inch, and he just makes sure he gets a beautiful contact on it. And through the bodies, Martinez can't see it. It rushes into the roof of the net.
I'll tell you what, if ever a manager who was always quite a pleasant character when he was a football player and everybody thought, it'd be a great son-in-law, displays his emotions on the touchline, it's Mikel Arteta. He's a completely different character now. He's a gaffer, isn't he? And he has just celebrated that wildly, with aggression, with relief. And he's now on his players once again to go on and make this count. They've come back from 1-0 down. It's 1-1 on Talksport. We thought this would be a pivotal game. We thought it would be a cracking game. And so far it's lived up to the hype.
And I think he understands how big a response like that is to going behind. It would be easy to suddenly think, well, it's just not going our way, is it? Things are slipping away. But they didn't. Straight away, they've been excellent since the goal. They've pressed Aston Villa, squeezed them into their own half, and they've moved the ball quick with quality and created some chances.
What they can't afford to do is encourage Aston Villa once again, as they did in the early stages of this game. We've played 18 minutes, we've already had 2 goals, and it's Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 1. This is Saliba moving the ball out towards the wide right position, looking for Ben White again, who plays it infield, gets a deflection off Coutinho, and it goes out on this near touchline, and it's away for a throw. It's actually Coutinho's patrolling down the left-hand side, and Buendia is almost playing as the 10 for Aston Villa, and the 2 banks of 4 behind him.
Well, maybe it's no surprise then, is it, that Ben White is getting some...
That's a brilliant shot from Zinchenko, dipping and curling as he hits that from 25 yards out into the arms of Emi Martinez.
Yeah, easy save in the end. Decent strike from Zinchenko, but maybe it's not a surprise that Ben White is getting that joy. Coutinho, he's not going to do that role. He's just not. It was a surprise that he started for me. And actually a surprise that he is the one on the left rather than Buendia.
Yeah, that's the surprise. Here is Ødegaard in towards the edge of the penalty area, blocked by Mings, cleared away. Pops out into midfield, and Buendia gets it back to Mings, and now Coutinho juggles with it on the halfway line and tries to turn. He needs a bit of support. Most of the claret shirts are out the other side. He's come left to Moreno, who gallops over the halfway line into Arsenal's half of the field. Moreno looking up, waiting for a bit of movement, but Saka is back there helping out, and Saka's done well in dealing with him so far. He's tossed the ball down the right side, encouraged a foot race between Konza and Nketiah, but he's just run out of room slightly, and the ball's just trickled out and away for a throw-in. Midway inside Aston Villa territory, away to our right, their left as they look at it, with a scoreline poised at 1-1.
What they can't do is relax and switch off at all, especially Gabriel and Saliba. Just kept my eye on Ollie Watkins. Every time Aston Villa win the ball, he's making such intelligent runs, either in between the 2 centre-backs or on the outside where that space is.
What's happened here? Bukayo Saka has just gone to the floor, off the ball. The ball's out and away for a throw-in. No one knows what happened to him, and all of a sudden he's gone. Oh, he's pulled up. Was that a collision with Alex Moreno on the touchline? And now he's complaining that he needs treatment, although I think maybe it's not as bad as we initially thought. He is hobbling away there. The last thing Arsenal will want is to lose him.
I think he feels as if Moreno went to clear it, but also just followed through on his ankle, and I think he's more not happy than perhaps injured.
Well, Moreno's given him he's been giving Moreno a bit of a tough time in the early start of this game. Here is Zinchenko from the left side, a deep ball, which again is just unwaywardly hit by Zinchenko, and it floats over the top and goes out for a goal kick away to our right. Arsenal were top of the table for 101 consecutive days before having their hearts broken by Manchester City the day after Valentine's Day. It was their first home defeat of the season. They watched the game back as a group to get a bit of clarity as to why they lost it with Mikel Arteta on Thursday morning. And they are going through a bit of a dip. They've dropped more points in the last 3 games than they dropped in their first 19 of the season. It has coincided with Saka being stifled, Martinelli going through a dry spell, and Partey having his fitness issues. And Saka's now got another problem to deal with because he's lost a boot. He's picked that up, and Aston Villa have continued to come forward over on the far side. It's with Ezri Konsa, though, back in the heart of the Aston Villa defence. Through the centre circle, he swipes the ball into Tyrone Mings, and Aston Villa look to try and build something here through Matty Cash on the right-hand side. Up it goes to John McGinn, who's seen very little of the ball so far. Back into Matty Cash once again. 22 gone, Talksport. Sam Adefacent with Dean Ashton live at Villa Park today.
I mean, that feels like the first bit of possession Aston Villa have had in this game. You're right, John McGinn, Kamara, Buendia, even Coutinho. We haven't really seen them on the ball.
The ball with Coutinho trying to get round the figure of Jorginho, plays it infield towards the far side. And it's picked up eventually by Saka after another loose pass. It has been a difficult start for that Aston Villa midfield. Zinchenko moves away down the left-hand side. You're listening to Talksport. Arsenal against Aston Villa. Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 1. With Now. Don't forget, with Now Sports, you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Newcastle versus Liverpool live today for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports. This is Saliba, deep inside his own territory. Still Millwall 1, Sheffield United 0, by the way, on Talksport 2 in the Championship. Millwall's stuttering playoff hunt maybe took a bit of a whack when they lost at Coventry in midweek. Sheffield United gunning for promotion automatically. Here is Saliba inside the centre circle for Arsenal. Watkins getting very close to him. Gabriel floats the ball down the left touchline. Trossard goes on the hunt. He gets there ahead of Matty Cash, plays it against the Polish international, who played every game for Poland at the World Cup and come up against the likes of Messi and Mbappe. Today he's got to try and stifle Leandro Trossard.
He's saying that's easy.
I don't think so, and not from the evidence that we've seen so far. Here is Xhaka.
Easier.
Depends on what mood they're in. Trossard behind Xhaka. A little touch from Zinchenko, gives it back to Xhaka, and then Cash comes from behind and fouls the Swiss international. It's a free kick to Arsenal, 7 or 8 yards back from the 18-yard box, wide on the left-hand side.
That's worked over there on that far side. Arsenal's left. Zinchenko, Xhaka and Trossard have combined well, making sure they're not making the same runs, and the quality's been very good over that side.
Well, this is an opportunity to get a delivery into the box for Arsenal to attack. Austin McPhee, who is the Aston Villa set-piece coach, is screaming and shouting at his charges to try and work out the best way to defend it. And Ødegaard has placed the ball down just outside the penalty area and whipped it in towards a congested box, which is dealt with well by Ollie Watkins, who was at that near post stationed on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's cleared away over on the far side and out for another Arsenal throw. 1-1 the score, 25 gone. You're listening to Talksport. The lights are on, maybe unnecessarily here inside the stadium. Aston Villa not know how much the energy costs these days. Zinchenko over on the left, plays it against the feet of McGinn, and it's sort of dribbled out of play, and I think Aston Villa felt that it came off Zinchenko last, and now Simon Hooper, the referee, has given it that way.
Yeah, the game just seems to have settled, doesn't it, since that brilliant start, and both teams just figuring out exactly where they are going to get the most joy. I think Unai Emery's side especially have certainly gone into their shells and looking to make sure they're in that defensive shape that they've clearly worked on against this Arsenal side.
Ball sent forward into the body of John McGinn by Zinchenko. Aston Villa managed to get hold of it after the ricochet, and it bounces back into their own half, where Ezri Konsa will travel backwards towards the edge of the box, and then Mings all the way back to the goalkeeper, and eventually it's cleared out towards the right-hand side. Up goes Zinchenko with a header, and he wins it, looking for Jorginho to go travelling down the left-hand side. Then across comes the figure of Trossard to block the attempted clearance by Cash, and it goes out for a throw. Very quickly on to Buendia, who looks up and wants to see the run of Watkins. He's seen it, and Saliba has been done by a little movement infield, and then they double time him with Xhaka and Saliba both trying to get the ball off Watkins, and they give away a free kick. And this is in the dead centre of the Arsenal half, just a shade left of centre.
Yeah, good centre forward play from Ollie Watkins. He knew he didn't have much support in that left-hand channel, so he came back inside Saliba and just managed to hold on enough. And Xhaka's got a point, he did get the ball, but ultimately if you go through the player first before you then hook the ball away, referees will give a free kick for that. You just wonder, it feels too far out for a strike at goal unless you've got some special knuckleball technique that Douglas Luiz may have.
It's Douglas Luiz. He can hit them from quite some way out. He's hit them in from a corner.
Yeah, true.
He's placing the ball down, and this free kick is taking place about 16 yards outside the penalty area, left of centre. So that's a good 34 yards from goal here. And there is a three-man Arsenal wall. Mings is trying to disrupt that. There is a rule about having to be a metre behind it or in front of it, so it's very difficult for them to get involved in that. And Douglas Luiz is eyeing up Aaron Ramsdale's goal. We've played 28 minutes. It's 1-1. Luiz steps up, right-footed, hits it straight into the wall. It comes out towards Alex Moreno on this near side. His first shot is blocked. He tries to turn back inside the area, and then Nketiah will take it wide towards the near touchline before Arsenal play their way out of trouble. They play a few triangles on this near touchline, and then Saka gets away from Coutinho far too easily. He's picked it up again, and he's racing down the right side. Kamara has to come across and put out the fire before it bursts into flames.
And rightly so, the supporters, round of applause for Kamara, because they knew there if he missed that, Saka was away.
Saka's got it back from Mings again, who's given it back to him for a second time on the afternoon. First one was a little bit more significant, but he's travelling down that right touchline again. Moreno has picked his pocket this time and turned the ball up towards the halfway line. It's currently Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 1, and for the latest odds you can head to BetBet, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Aston Villa to win the game at 18-5, Arsenal 20-23, so 23-20 on, and the draw is 21-10. That's all thanks to BetBet 18+, begambleaware.org. This is Talksport, and Watkins is on the chase of a long ball down the middle of the pitch, dealt with by Saliba, picked up by Gabriel, and Arsenal have it back. Facing his own goal, he has to turn Zinchenko to race over halfway. He then comes back infield and looks up and finds Jorginho, who's on the cusp of the centre circle inside Villa territory. Once again, Arsenal moving the ball well, switch to the right flank, and now Saka looks to try and attack. He faces up Coutinho. He pops to the left and then pops to the right, then tries to play it through Coutinho's legs, and still Arsenal emerge with the ball after a bit of pinball wizard down that right side. Coutinho's not happy, nor is Kamara, who goes in quite high on Ben White, and expecting that to be a free kick. It might well have gone out for a throw-in.
I'm surprised that's not a free kick though. Usually when a player goes in, studs high against anyone, it's usually a free kick. Yeah, he gets a bit of the ball, but he gets plenty of Ben White as well.
I think they've changed their mind and they are going to give a free kick now. And it took a little bit of consultation between referee and oh no, is it a free kick or is it going to be a throw? I think it's going to be a throw-in. Yeah, it's still a throw-in on this near side, which Ben White will take. Actually, Saka went to go and take the free kick because he felt that was what was going to be given. A ball thrown by White into Saka, who hits it against Douglas Luiz after making a run off the back of the defender, and it goes behind and away for a corner kick, and Saka is taking all the time in the world to do so.
Yeah, just got a bit of a limp on actually.
I think he's a bit annoyed because he keeps getting a bit of
Probably, yeah.
attention down that side from Kamara, from
that's normally what happens
Moreno.
though when you're a top player, is defenders want to kick you.
You attract attention. He can't go even to the supermarket in a hoodie now, he says.
No.
Here is the corner away to our right hand side. He'll take this left-footed. There's a congested 6-yard box, and Gabriel trying to peel away to the far post. He's going towards it now, but Emi Martinez comes through a clutch of players, grabs the ball brilliantly, and the Aston Villa players all dart forward, but Martinez holds on to the ball and they take their time before eventually distributing the ball into Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, took a nice little ride, as if he was on a bodyboard. Martinez on the top of the defenders just to clutch that from the sky.
I wouldn't want to be that bodyboard. Here is Moreno into the penalty area, step over towards Coutinho, right footed shot from the edge of the box, and he scored. Brilliant goal. Philippe Coutinho with his first goal of the season, his first goal since the last day of last season, puts Villa back in front with a really well-worked goal. It came down the left-hand side, driven towards the edge of the box. An intelligent step over by Emi Buendia, had the presence of mind to realise that Coutinho was running onto it, and he met it and fired it home, and Villa are back in front after half an hour. It's 2-1.
Oh, that's why he's in the side, Philippe Coutinho, because he can do things like that. What a brilliant bit of play from Aston Villa on the left-hand side. Moreno and Camara just combined brilliantly. It was a dart down the left from Moreno in behind Ben White. He then fires it in towards Buendia, who is so clever. He knows where Coutinho is. He just lets the ball run through his legs. It then goes through the defender's legs. And Coutinho gives Aaron Ramsdale the absolute eyes, as if he's going to pass it to the goalkeeper's left and then just reverses it into the corner. Brilliant finish from Philippe Coutinho.
Oh dear, Arsenal have conceded again, and Arsenal have got to come from behind again. 32 minutes on the clock. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1 on Talksport. We thought this would be the game of the day. It certainly looks like it's got the potential to be so. Here is White, 2-3 yards in from the right touchline, being hounded now by Alex Moreno. Again, the Aston Villa goal coming from Moreno getting high up on the left-hand side. The first one coming from a swashbuckling run from Cash. Moreno coming down this left-hand side, getting involved in the play very quickly, centering the ball. Brilliant step over from Buendia, and great finish from Coutinho. Erdogan down the right, onto Saka, motors towards the edge of the penalty, a bit of room for him now, into the box he goes, a low cross repelled by Mings, it comes back to White, and then into Jorginho pokes it wide, White keeps it in, Kamara comes across, and then takes it out of play. It's away for an Arsenal throw midway inside opposition territory. It's been all action, hasn't it, since the very beginning?
It certainly has. I mean, again though, more worrying signs in terms of that space between full-back and centre-back for Arsenal. Too easy for that ball to be played over the top or down the sides. And Saliba and Gabriel, they don't really want to go out there, or they don't recognise the danger to get out there quicker.
Mikel Arteta speaking to Bukayo Saka. I think he's a little bit irritated that Bukayo Saka looks to have his energy sapped from him, and he's having a word with the youngster on this near touchline as Aston Villa look to try and progress down the near flank up towards Coutinho. The ball is flicked on, Saliba scurries back into position, and Arsenal, who have conceded twice in the game, have got to find another way of raising their spirits once more. I think once they had got their goal, they looked like the better team, and I was expecting them to go on and push home their advantage, but to concede in a manner like it was a lightning quick counter-attack, wasn't it?
But when you think about it, I mean, Aston Villa have offered very, very little. You know, they've scored with both of their, they've scored with 50% of their attempts. It's not as if they've been particularly dominant at all, Aston Villa, but they've the two goals will be exactly what they will have worked on. One ball over the top for Watkins, and then looking to get the fullbacks high.
Here is Saka in behind Moreno, does brilliantly just to edge his body in front of Saka, and then there was a little bit of hesitation between Martinez and the defender Moreno, and that almost allowed Saka to get back in again. They put the ball out of play, and it's gone out for a corner actually, and probably needlessly so after the good work that Moreno did in the first place. Arsenal looking to hit back here. 2-1 the score with 10 minutes to go, and Aston Villa, who scored the first goal in the game, were pegged back and went up the other end and scored again. They've only had a few attacks, but they've made them count. That ruthlessness in the box that Arteta is trying to get from his team has certainly been on display from Unai Emery and his charges so far in the game. Here is the corner to be taken by Saka in front of the Holt end, away to our right as we look at it. There's a lot of wrestling going on in the box. It's a dreadful corner into the near post, which is easily defended. It was mishit, I think, from Saka, and it's cleared away.
Well, he was in two minds of whether to play that short corner to Odegaard and Ben White and overload that situation, and in the end he never concentrated on the actual corner itself. Another opportunity missed, really, because only Bournemouth have conceded more goals from set plays than Aston Villa have, so it's an area they should be looking to target.
Yeah, that is a particular vulnerability of Unai Emery's team. Saka trying to spin him behind again, the ball elevated over the top. Jorginho gives Ben White a few instructions as to what he should have been doing, and that wasn't it, as it runs all the way through to Emi Martinez away to our right hand side. But what will Mikel Arteta be thinking about now? Because he's in a situation here where we've identified it as a crucial game that they have to win today, but to be behind twice to Aston Villa, that is a significant setback, isn't it?
Yes, and I think it'll worry him how fragile they've looked just from the few attacks that Aston Villa have had, and how easily they've been able to open Arsenal up with those attacks. He's got to figure out a way, like you talked about earlier, to maybe go back to thinking, we have still got to be, defensively solid. Earlier on in the season, they looked like we were going to keep clean sheets, especially away from home.
Oh, that's given away by Jorginho on the edge of the area, and it's Douglas Luiz who's found Buendia. Buendia thinks he was fouled. The referee says, no, get up, keep going. And off Arsenal come on the charge with Trossard up to the halfway line. He's dispossessed by John McGinn. Aston Villa win it. Coutinho out to the right side. Cash, Coutinho, Ming. Back to John McGinn on the near side, and then out to Cash once more. Coutinho wants to get involved now. He's got a little bit of more swagger about him than he did prior to his goal, and it was a well taken goal, the goal that has given Aston Villa a 2-1 lead as we head towards half time here. Here's Tyrone Mings. Arsenal, who have been suffering with a little bit of fatigue possibly, because a lot of these players have played up most of the games over the course of the season, maybe not enough freshness about them. Maybe they've just been found out by opposition players as Saka goes wiring into Moreno over on the near touchline. The referee doesn't even give a foul for that. Wants a word with Saka, who believes he didn't do anything wrong.
Well, he's basically done the same as what Moreno did to him. He's got the ball but then followed through right on Moreno's ankle. There's definitely a bit of something there between those two. Saka's looked, like you say, he's looked a bit grumpy with the situation.
Saka has got one sock rolled down to just above his ankle, the other one pulled up to his knee. A couple of holes in the back of his left sock as he trots away from that little collision. The ball goes out towards the near side. White chests it down and then plays it against Kamara, then tries to flick it on. The crowd of our Aston Villa players stop Arsenal from really progressing. It's very congested, and it goes out towards the far side where it's picked up by Zinchenko. Zinchenko plays it wide to Trossard. Trossard tries to take on Matty Cash, using a little bit of a tail spin as the ball's played to the edge of the area, and Xhaka doesn't get his pass forward right. Buendia tries to escape, plays it through the legs of Jorginho, and then Odegaard will get there before it can reach Watkins. The referee's allowed play on despite a collision involving Buendia, and Arsenal turn it over on this near side. Saliba up from the back, slips over on the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. Not entirely sure what he was doing up there. Anyway, the ball's gone back to the left, and Xhaka, who's sent Eddie Nketiah down into the left channel. He's peeled away and then tucked it back into the path of Zinchenko, who wanders towards the Aston Villa box. 5 minutes to go before half-time, and it's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Here is Saka attacking Moreno, trying to go on the outside, goes on the inside and then tries to play the ball against Buendia, who comes across to help out. He then tussles with Buendia. The ball goes behind and out for a goal kick. But Saka is getting quite a lot of attention from the Aston Villa players, and he's starting to spark up a little bit. He's rearing up against it.
Yeah, I think he's the type of character, though, that he'll get on with it. He'll want more of it. He'll keep wanting the ball. But frustrating at the moment for Bukayo Saka, and rightly so. Teams are doubling up, tripling up on him when he gets that ball on the right-hand side. Odegaard's another one I've been looking at. He's just got no space. Unai Emery's made sure that Douglas Luiz and Kamara are both patrolling that area in front of the two centre-backs, not allowing him that space to get on the half-turn.
Unai Emery has beaten Manchester United in his first game. Brighton, with a bit of help from VAR, they were second best for large periods in that game. They've also narrowly beaten Leeds and Southampton, but they are in front against Arsenal, the team that hope to go back to the top of the table tonight with a victory here. Well, certainly back to the top of the table for a few hours before Manchester City play Nottingham Forest. Here's Jorginho out to the left, swinging the ball into the path of Trossard. Trossard travels at pace towards the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. He's checked by Cash and then sends it back out wide to Xhaka, then into Zinchenko, plays it against Douglas Luiz. There might well have been a foul there by Jorginho. The referee may punish that a little bit later. Then Buendia tries to release Watkins, but he's overhit the ball and it goes out of play and away for a throw on this near side.
There's just no space. Arsenal have got to realise that the space is out wide. And if they move it and switch it quickly, certainly Zinchenko and Ben White are the players that are going to have the space to move inside that middle part of the pitch. There is nothing there.
But we expected that when we saw the team sheet, didn't we?
Yeah,
that they were
did.
going to clog that midfield area and try and make Aston Villa difficult to penetrate.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically they're poised, aren't they, Aston Villa? They're like 10 cats waiting for one mouse just to come out of a hole.
Here is Saka down the right side, trying to get beyond Moreno, plays it infield to Odegaard, who deals with the ball well despite a lot of attention. He's got Jorginho in support. Jorginho tries to slip it back down the right for Saka. It's just a little bit too heavy for Saka. I thought he was going to get there, and I think maybe Jorginho did too, because it was a brilliant ball down the right side by Jorginho, which almost released Bukayo Saka into a really dangerous position.
It's just one of those at the moment, isn't it, for Bukayo Saka? He's very much in the game. The opposition crowd, every single misplaced touch, or he couldn't quite get the ball, they're on him. There's only one way to respond to that.
Just watching a replay of the goal and how it comes from Emi Martinez bowling the ball out into the midpoint of his own half before it goes only via 3 players into Coutinho on the edge of the penalty area, and he rifles it home. A simple move, but too easy for Aston Villa to play through Arsenal on 2 occasions in this game to give them what looks like being a half-time lead. Aston Villa have a throw. Albert Sturmboyg and Mikel Arteta in conversation inside the technical area. They call him AirPod Albert, the assistant manager, because he's constantly in touch with the analysts that are in the stand. And those analysts, I'm sure, will be pointing out the vulnerabilities that Arsenal have succumbed to in the opening 44 minutes of this game. Live on Talksport. Later on today, we're around the grounds at 2:30 with Adrian Durham. We've got Everton against Leeds to come on Talksport 2. But here in the big game of the day, it is 2-1 to Aston Villa. Arsenal have the ball deep inside their own half. And Gabriel has released Zinchenko, who saunters forward, then decides to come back, gives it to Saliba. Saliba then plays it wide to White. White on opposition territory now, just moves up towards the midpoint of the opposition half and then out to Saka, a back heel from White. Saka tries to nudge it back to Odegaard, but very quickly Aston Villa are on Arsenal. They're not allowing them any wriggle room, and they've got to find a way of unlocking the door.
John McGinn, I just keep watching him. It's just got his head down and just gritting his teeth and just working his way around that midfield area, looking to win the ball back.
Be a minimum of
2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Jorginho flies the ball from one side to the other. A little bit of space now for Saka to manoeuvre into. His cross is deep towards the far post. He's looking for Xhaka. He drops on the edge of the area after a good defence. Manages to scupper the ball out of harm's way, and then it's cleared further clear on the edge of that penalty area by McGinn out towards the far side, but it comes back in from Xhaka. A low ball in towards the near post, picked up by Trossard, and then it breaks over on the far side, and a free kick is given against Emi Buendia for a late foul, and Arsenal get it moving again very quickly, and Jorginho just went to try and rifle that into the edge of the box, decided against it, gives it to Ødegaard. Nketiah's getting a lot of attention. Mings went across, there was a bit more left on Ødegaard from Mings. The referee is allowed to play on. Ødegaard is down, and then he's chopped from behind Saka by Coutinho. A free kick is given, Saka rears up, Douglas Luiz comes over, there's a bit of pushing and shoving going on, and both sets of players are now trying to calm the situation down, but Saka's fed up. He's getting far too much attention, illegal attention, and he wants something done about it.
Yeah, he feels as if there's been too many challenges. Of course, you've got to expect Aston Villa to be at you, to be snapping, to be trying to win the ball. They feel as if they're going over the top, too many challenges, and not getting enough support from the referee. As Ødegaard is on the floor trying to receive treatment because, of course, Mings won the ball and took his opportunity to go through and just stood Ødegaard, who needed to realise that and get himself out of the way. And then, of course, Saka, when he was fouled, wasn't happy.
Is the referee maybe complicit for not taking action earlier? I think he's given a yellow card. I think he's given a yellow card to Douglas Luiz, and has he given one to Bukayo Saka there as well? We'll check that. And Bukayo Saka and Douglas Luiz are the two men that seem to have been booked by Simon Hooper. Indeed it is. They were checking a possible red card situation on from earlier in the game. Maybe that was the Tyrone Mings sort of scrape down the front of Ødegaard's shin.
Yeah, he took that opportunity. It was a golden opportunity, and he took it.
you would have seen that coming, would you?
I'd have been getting well out of the way, absolutely.
Free kick to be taken by Bukayo Saka then as we approach the final few seconds of the first half. We're into added time now, and it's in fact nearly played 48 minutes. Saka to take the free kick, just right of centre, sends it left-footed deep towards the far post, too close to Emi Martinez. It's an easy grab. Ødegaard is back on after his treatment, and that should be the end of what has been a thrilling first 45 minutes. It's been a wonderful 45 minutes for Unai Emery, who's seeking revenge on his former employers and employees. He was the man who gave Bukayo Saka his debut in an Arsenal jersey. And although Saka has scored once this afternoon, it's Aston Villa who have scored twice in this first 45 minutes. Well, are Arsenal stalling again? There have been signs of it in that first half. There are 2-1 down at the break, and 2 goals from Ollie Watkins and Philippe Coutinho have given Aston Villa that advantage at half-time. Arsenal need a second-half improvement if they are not to cede more power to Pep in the title race. They are behind. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1.
Sam Matterface, thank you very much. As you say, what a thrilling opening half of football that was. Just surprises all the way. I mean, no surprise to see Aston Villa score, and then they conceded so soon with Bukayo Saka. But a brilliant game of football, and a surprise to see Philippe Coutinho actually making a concerted impact on the game, let's say.
Absolutely. I mean, when you see the way he finished that, you wonder why he doesn't start every game. He has got that brilliant, quality to put chances away, to create. I think it's the other side of the game, which is probably why he doesn't start enough games, certainly for Aston Villa. But he's a wonderful talent, and it was a great goal, the second one for Aston Villa.
Really
the way they worked
well worked, wasn't it?
The awareness of Buendia to leave it for Coutinho and the finish itself.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant as well. But now, of course, Arsenal have a job on their hands to come back from that. We've seen them do it already in this first half. What do you expect Unai Emery to change, though, to make it difficult for them to do that?
Well, I think defensively they've been very good, and they've denied the space where Arsenal are at their most threatening, which is that ball into Odegaard and that combination of Odegaard with the front players. They've just not allowed it. So they're having to go wide, and then they're being really aggressive with the way that they've gone and pressed Trossard and Saka in particular. They've really been on top of Bukayo Saka, and rightly so. He's a wonderful player. But they've got to find a way to create chances for Nketiah. Nketiah has barely been in the game. I can't remember Sam particularly saying his name at all, and I think Unai Emery will be saying, look, that's where we're at. We need to make sure Nketiah is not touching the ball, Odegaard's not touching the ball in dangerous areas. So if they do that, I think they've got a great chance of coming out with a victory.
Expecting to see a bit more of Trossard as well.
I think he was good. I thought he was their best player early on, actually, in the way that he combined with Xhaka and Zinchenko. But end product, what your wide players now they've got as much of a burden on them to assist and score as the forwards have. That's their role now. He's been very wide. I haven't once seen him make a run in alongside Nketiah or in behind Nketiah, and I think that's important. When you're a forward on your own up there, you need players running off you to create space for yourself when you're up against two centre-backs. So I think that's something they need to look at in terms of getting players running beyond Nketiah to open up some space.
Okay, so plenty of work to do at half-time for Mikel Arteta, but also for Unai Emery. He's going to want to protect that lead that Aston Villa have here at Villa Park. What a first half it's been. It is Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. Second half is up next.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Get your finance sorted first, then choose your car. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals and a wide range of trade quality building products. In February, we've got 2.4 metre lengths of 75 by 50mm CLS studding for only £2.98 ex VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
In sport, what's just as important as the goals, the glory, the roar of the crowd? Yes, it's the half-time break. Time for a breather, a reset, to keep everything on track. In sports betting, Betfair's safer gambling tools help you do that too. Like timeouts, so you take that all-important half-time break. Or deposit limits, to help you keep count. Manage your play at safergambling.betfair.com. Simple ways to stay on top of your game with Betfair.
18+ begambleaware.org.
And he's barrelled it straight through the midfield into the Village Hotel Pub and Grill fan zone, the home of big screen live football. A long volley over the stadium seats by the giant screens into the left-hand corner of the bar, past a winning lineup of ice-cold beers and a magnificent menu of mouth-watering footy food. Result! Enjoy the perfect big match experience with food, drink and live football at a Village Hotel Pub and Grill fan zone at 33 UK locations. Find your nearest venue and win monthly prizes, including match tickets at villagehotels.com/fanzone. Get in! Conditions apply. 18+, always drink responsibly.
The new season is here, and The Times on Saturday has all the big interviews, insightful analysis and stats you need to set you up for a perfect weekend of Premier League action. Subscribe today at thetimes.co.uk/football for provocative and compelling opinions from the best sports writers in the business, including James Gibbrandt, Owen Slott and the voice of football, Henry Winter.
Lovely bit of football!
Try it free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/football. Auto renews at £26 a month unless cancelled. T's and C's apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's right, Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond the expected. Go to asahisuperdry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
Bing bong. Attentions please, attentions please. We got big new news. Just Eat now does grocery delivery. No problemo if you forgot the only thing you went in the shop to buy. Want ice cream for breakfast? Caught the cat licking the butter. So, don't cry over spilt milk. Get it delivered to your door from Just Eat instead. Grocery delivery. We got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Only available from participating stores and selected locations. Products subject to availability. Service charge may apply. See justeat.co.uk for more details.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Now Sports. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Newcastle versus Liverpool live today for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Feel the passion and the pride of the Premier League.
Oh, it's a stunning goal!
Game day exclusive
on Talksport.
You are listening to Game Day exclusive live on Talksport with me, Reshmin Chowdhury. We are at Villa Park where it is half-time. Now over in the Championship on Talksport 2. It's also half-time at the Den. It's Millwall 1, Sheffield United 1. Here at Villa Park, though, it's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. Let's get the latest from Betfair, shall we? The official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a hand from Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Now Aston Villa are evens to win this game now. The draw is 2-1. Arsenal to win is 10-3. Leandro Trossard to score or assist was 2-1. That has been odds boosted to 5-2. In terms of Sam's charity bet, and he went for both teams to score, which has happened. But Arsenal are losing rather than winning, of course, and Nketiah is yet to have a shot on target. So things need to change in the second half to raise more money for the Bobby Moore Foundation. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a hand from Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Okay, from 2:30 today, Adrian Durham will take you around the grounds in the Premier League and EFL as always. And over on Talksport 2, there is a huge game at the bottom of the table. You'll definitely want to be tuning into that one. It's Leeds United who travel to Goodison Park to face Everton. That one is live and exclusive to us. And your co-commentator for the match is the former England and Sunderland fullback, Mickey Gray. Mickey, how are you doing?
Reshmin, very well, thank you. Good afternoon to you too.
Good afternoon. Last time I saw you was indeed at Goodison Park, where Arsenal were beaten in Sean Dyche's first match in charge. It's certainly fired up the troops. So it means that this one is a really, really huge game for Everton to start picking up the points. But a really crucial one for Leeds as well. Still no manager.
Yeah, it's a massive game at the bottom of the Premier League table, isn't it, Reshman? And I think both sides obviously be going out to try and win the game. And Everton obviously be looking to try and get themselves out of the bottom three. But when you think about Leeds United over the last couple of weeks, scratching their heads of wondering who's going to be walking through the door as the next manager. But they've rallied under Michael Skubala. They've put in some decent performances back-to-back against Manchester United, albeit they lost the last one against them at Ellen Road. So both sides in front of us obviously trying to get back to winning ways. But if it's like a couple of weeks ago, Reshman, when I was sat alongside you at Goodison Park, then we are in for an absolute treat, and this place will be absolute rocking.
Yeah, it certainly will, because everyone knows exactly what's at stake for that one. I mean, this is the difference. You know, Everton acted quickly. They knew what they had to do. They brought themselves a manager who they know is more than capable of doing the job. Whether he does or not will remain to be seen. When you're Leeds and you're going into the game like that, how much of a distraction is it for the players?
Well, I think the players have just got to basically rally around. I think you look at the experienced players in that dressing room, Reshman, and they've got to get their heads together. They've got to have a conversation just to say, look, it's about us. We don't really know who's going to be walking through the door, who's going to be taking us till the end of the season. There's been so much speculation about 4 or 5 different managers walking through the door. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened. So I think the players have done very well, albeit I talked about those 2 results against Manchester United, drawing 1 and losing 1. It's down to the players, the experienced players, and just knuckling down and just trying to get as many points on the board in the next couple of weeks as they possibly can.
Yeah, and would you make Everton favourites then today, given the uncertainty with Leeds, given the fact that Sean Dyche is in, he's got his feet under the table, the players are responding to him, and of course, as we talked about, it's that home support.
Well, it's back-to-back wins is hugely important at home, Reshman, for Everton. Their record against Leeds United is lost 1 in 10 when they played them in the Premier League. So I think you'll probably favour Everton And obviously they've got to get off to a bright start in this game, because at Goodison Park, if you do in the first 15 minutes, you know this place will be absolutely rocking. But Leeds have just got to try and rip up that form table. They've just got to come out and they've got to perform. We know they can play some decent football, but I think with both sides in front of us, Reshman, the problem has been scoring goals. Everton have only scored 16 this season, and that has to change.
Well, there's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin today either. So, we saw him against Arsenal getting into decent positions. He didn't score, but he did get into decent positions. He does sort of help the players around him. How do they put themselves in contention to score more goals than today?
Well, I think they've just got to get players higher up the field, as they tried to do against Arsenal, as that game you just mentioned there before. But it looks like it's probably going to be young Ellis Sims, who was on loan at Sunderland, but he's came back. He played in the Merseyside derby against Liverpool. Didn't really get the service I think he was hoping for, obviously playing in a huge game like that. But if he gets the opportunity to play in front of the Evertonian support today, then that's what they have to do. We saw that energy that they had in midfield the day when they did play against Arsenal, with Decore in there and Gehi. They've got to try and get players further up the field to give Ellis Sims more opportunities to score goals.
Yeah, and Ellis Sims, what an opportunity for him to step up to the plate as well. Mickey Gray, enjoy the game. It should be a fantastic one. We'll speak to you later on, of course. Here, though, at Villa Park, Arsenal are the first team out from the dressing rooms. They're starting to take their places. A few conversations happening between some of the players. They know what a big job is in their hands at the moment. Of course, they've got to try and claw back this deficit. Currently 2-1 down against Aston Villa. Just to mark your card here on Talksport, next Sunday there's exclusive radio commentary of Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury live from Saudi Arabia. Coverage on the night starts at 7 p.m. on Talksport 2 before switching over to Talksport at 9 p.m. for the main event. The team on the ground will also bring you exclusive daily content, so you will not miss a thing. That is Jake Paul then versus Tommy Fury. Real internet sensation, this one, I think. Lots of pay-per-views expected. It's next Sunday, the 26th of February. It's live, exclusive and free to listen to only on Talksport. Here, though, at Villa Park, as I said, Arsenal are out. The Villa team still not out at the moment. Still a few minutes left before half-time is over, though. What will Mikel Arteta be looking to do differently, Dean Ashton?
I don't think there'll be a huge tactical change, because Aston Villa aren't all of a sudden going to give you anything in the middle of the pitch, so it is going to be about out wide, how can you combine and overload the Aston Villa fullbacks. But I think he'll be saying we can't be bullied. The teams are going to try and bully Arsenal. They'll have seen Everton, they'll have seen Brentford, they'll have seen this half of football. They're going to try and bully you. They're going to try and put tackles in that hurt you. That sort of things, as much of in a fair manner as they can. So either you've got to match them, or you've got to be, you've got to sort of beat them up metaphorically with your football by being too good for them. So it's one or the other, preferably both. And if they don't match that, then they'll lose the game, because the Premier League certainly is so unforgiving in that sense.
Yeah, indeed. Any mistake will be pounced upon. Mikel Arteta looking very pensive in the dugout, and the second half is about to kick off. So here's your commentary team, Dean Ashton. But first, Sam Matterface.
Well, Mikel Arteta was clearly not happy with that first 45 minutes, because he sent his team out with 2 minutes of half-time still remaining to stand in the Villa Park wind and prepare for the start of the second 45. But I expect a response at half-time from Arsenal, who are in black shirts, shorts and socks, attacking the goal away to our left, defending the Holt end. And Aston Villa, who have been pretty combative since the start of the game, in those claret shirts with blue sleeves and white shorts, blue socks, attacking the Holt end in this second half, and defending the north stand away to our left-hand side. Matty Cash just getting in front of Nketiah. We'll go to the two lineups for you, with Aston Villa having Martinez in goal, a back four of Cash, Konza, Mings and Moreno, who had a running battle with Saka in the first half. McGinn, who's been everywhere, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, all getting stuck in. Buendia, who stepped over the ball for the Coutinho goal. Coutinho playing behind Ollie Watkins in attack. For Arsenal, Ramsdale is their goalkeeper. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, the back four. Jorginho holding, Xhaka and Ødegaard supporting Saka and Leandro Trossard as the flank men, with Eddie Nketiah through the centre. Dean Ashton is alongside us in the commentary box, and it is imperative, isn't it, that Arsenal make a fast start here?
Well, it's important they get control of the ball and make sure that, like I said, they're not bullied. They move the ball quickly, they switch the ball quickly where those spaces are out wide for Arsenal. And also, is there any chance at all of the forward players, I'm talking, about Saka and Trossard and Xhaka, Odegaard, running beyond Nketiah, or actually looking first time over the top for Nketiah, who's trying to make those runs, rather than it always being to feet?
Well, this is the 201st meeting between Villa and Arsenal. Arsenal have won the last 3, including the 2-1 win in August, in which Gabriel Martinelli scored a late winner. We may need some invention from the bench. Martinelli is available to them as Trossard spins in behind, and this time they do look for him. Zinchenko can't execute the pass with any degree of accuracy. It goes down the left channel and into the arms of Emi Martinez. We played 2 minutes of the second half on Talksport, and it's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1, and Emi Martinez, who doesn't mind disrupting proceedings, as we may well have seen before on a bigger stage than this. Just waits and distributes the ball upfield. Ball is at the feet of Matty Cash on this right side in front of the dugouts. He's getting a little bit of attention from Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta. Unai Emery, who's stretching the stitching on those pants that he's wearing today, in a little bit of a lunge down in front of us as he tries to gesticulate and get a message across to one or two of his players. Here's Xhaka on halfway, just left the centre circle. Odegaard has escaped. He's got space out towards the right for Saka. Nketiah was in a better position. They didn't use him. Saka then tries to find the far corner, but spoons the ball over the top of the crossbar, and it goes out for a goal kick. Why did Odegaard not shift that down the left to Nketiah?
And do that early as well. It was a really clever run from Odegaard, actually. He started offside and came back onside in front of Tyrone Mings. Should have found Nketiah in the left-hand side. Found Saka on the right. I watched him in the warm-up, Saka. He did this. He came onto that left foot and he bent it into the top corner in the warm-up. Not this time, though. Balance wasn't quite there. Lifted it up and over the top. Not even close, really, from Bukayo Saka.
Emi Martinez sends it long. Zinchenko intervenes. It's a poor clearance by Cash, and it goes out on this near side. Crucial minutes, I think, these, not only in this match, but in the title race itself.
I think interesting, we looked at that first goal when Cash won that ball and drove forward and played it over the top. I'm looking at Matty Cash. I think he's been really disciplined in his performance so far this afternoon. I'm sure he's so good at getting forward. He's such an athletic player, but he's been really disciplined in that role.
Here is Saka travelling down that right touchline once again, with Coutinho coming across this time to nudge the ball out of play into the Arsenal fans over on the far side, that number around about 2,000 in the bottom tier of the Doug Ellis stand. And Arsenal throw the ball in quickly to Odegaard, who goes back to Saliba and then gets it back again, plays it square into Zinchenko, and then it's a little bit heavy for Gabriel and has to go square into Saliba once more. We played nearly 5 minutes of the second half. Arsenal just trying to assert some control on the game. They've dominated the football match really in terms of possession, but they've been beaten by 2 ruthless finishes. The first from Ollie Watkins in the first few minutes of the game, and the second from Philippe Coutinho just before half-time, and it's 2-1 as a result of that. And once again, Emi Martinez, as the ball's gone out of play, is desperately taking as much time as humanly possible away to our left-hand side. He's being shut down by Nketiah. Martinez elevates the ball out towards the far side. It wasn't a great ball, it's gone straight out of play, and it's an Arsenal throw deep inside Villa territory. Can they get things moving quickly here? Into Jorginho, who lifts it up towards Nketiah. It bounces again and Jorginho wins that. It's out wide to Saka, a chance for White to cross. He goes back to Saka instead, and he weaves one way then the other, then produces a decent delivery. Nketiah goes in on Konza, and Konza gets the header in, but he was under pressure from Nketiah, and it was a foul by the Arsenal forward. It's going to be a free kick on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, both White and Saka worked that brilliantly. White faked to cross and back-heeled it to Saka. Saka then faked to cross with his favoured left foot, cut onto his right foot, clipped a great ball in for Nketiah to challenge, and Konsa, brilliant, brave header on the 6-yard line, made sure he headed that away, knew he was going to get whacked from a late arriving Nketiah. Great defending.
Good defending by Ezri Konsa, who's the only one who survived from the league game against Manchester City. It's all changed apart from that in that Villa back line. Ball out of play on the halfway line to be taken by Zinchenko, a throw in front of John Brooks, the fourth official. He was actually that official who was taken off a game because of an error that he made at Palace last week. Here is Saka into the area. Oh, it's come back to Ødegaard, who's teed it up for Xhaka. Right-footed, blocked by Douglas Luiz on the edge of the penalty area. That was a real mistake inside the area there by Aston Villa, almost feeding Ødegaard with the opportunity to shoot. Zinchenko, left-footed, plays it against the defender. It takes a deflection off Cash and goes behind and away for a corner to Arsenal.
Yeah, that's twice now. Martin Ødegaard's got himself into a dangerous position, just laid it back to Xhaka. It was just a claret blur in front of him as 5 Aston Villa players closed him down for the block.
Yeah, we're all used to those. Here is Zinchenko trying to drive the ball into the edge of the penalty area. Comes back out to Saka, who hits it for a crowd of players but never hit it quite cleanly. And he's got a real problem over on that far side. He's gone down and he's going to need some attention. And it may well be that he can't continue.
Yeah, he's been hobbling almost since the start of the half. I don't think he maybe feels like he can't continue.
No, he's definitely not going to be able to continue.
No.
He's done the rolling of the hands.
Yeah, the universal signal. I mean, it'd be a blow for Arsenal for him to have to go off.
Well, I mentioned it to you a little bit earlier on that he was asking for more protection from the referee, wanted the referee to take more action earlier on. He has had a lot of attention today. Should there have been more protection for him? Or is it just something he's going to have to get used to?
I don't feel as if I've seen particularly that many fouls where I've gone, well, that's not really fair. That's not really fair. Of course, players are going to get tight, and as they win the ball against you, of course they're going to rake their studs down the back of your ankle. I'm afraid it is part of being the player that he is, and he's got to try and get through it. And I think he does. I don't think I necessarily see him particularly complaining. He's a type of boy that gets on with it and struggles through it.
But he hasn't looked happy for quite a while in this game, though, has he?
No, not since Moreno followed through on him. No, not since then. But he's probably carrying niggles all the time anyway from most games where he's getting whacked.
Well, they're looking over at the bench, and he's pretty insistent that he can't continue. But I don't know whether or not.
A bit more strapping on the ankle, and off you go.
But I don't know whether or not they're reluctant to deny him the possibility of coming off or not. But he's hobbled behind the goal, and maybe he will be asked to continue to play by Mikel Arteta and his team. I remember Erik ten Hag, actually. I spoke to him after the Manchester derby, and half time in that Manchester derby, I didn't think Marcus Rashford was going to be able to walk in the second half, let alone be able to continue playing. And Erik ten Hag said, well, that's just part of it. He's just got to suffer. Get on with it. Made him stay on until the end of the match, and obviously helped turn the tide. Saka, I think, has been given the similar sort of indication. Despite him doing that universal symbol for being substituted, he is back on now.
Well, he's got to think, do you know what? The only way to really respond to this, I know I'm hurting, I know it's painful, but I can get through this, go on and help Arsenal win the game. It's the best way to respond.
Throw in for White into Saka, who picks it up again, turns it back towards the midpoint of his own half, and now it's with Saliba and then Gabriel, and then out towards the near touchline, and then Trossard. Trossard travels down that touchline. He's got McGinn for company. He's got two to aim at in the centre. Xhaka's come forward to help out. Nketiah's made a run, but it's arced out to Saka instead. He brings it down. Immediately Moreno is across. It's into the edge of the area, through the legs of the defender, and White then finds Jorginho. Back down the right it goes. White's going to just about keep this in. It's aimed towards Nketiah. Nketiah hits the top of the crossbar. A header which looped over Martinez and dropped agonisingly on top of the bar rather than underneath it for Arsenal.
Well, Ben White does brilliantly just to dig this out, really stuns his foot underneath the ball to get that height towards the back post, and Nketiah does everything he can. He gets up really early, he takes a ride off the back of Matty Cash. He's right up there, he's just got to try and guide it under pressure, I think he does reasonably well, to be honest, with that header under such pressure to get that guided towards that far post. He's unlucky to see it bounce off the top of the crossbar.
It's a great chance, but it was cultivated by the extra work that Ben White did, getting towards that byline and keeping that in and steering it to the far post. And then the leap from Nketiah was impressive, and unlucky not to be on the score sheet again. And Mikel Arteta is using this delay that we've got here to call all his players across to him to ensure that they understand his instructions. It's a little bit of a timeout 10 minutes into the second half. I'll tell you that it's Millwall 1, Sheffield United 1 over on Talksport 2 right now. You can download our app and you can flick between the two stations. But you're listening to Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1 on Talksport with Now. And don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Newcastle versus Liverpool live today for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Laura Woods is back on breakfast on Monday morning. She's back from Arizona. I bet she's got a few tales from Arizona in the Super Bowl, don't you?
What a week.
What a week that was, eh?
Oh.
Not bad. So she'll have a few tales to tell you on Monday morning when she gets back on the breakfast show from 6 till 10. Ali McCoy's on as well. You'll be able to review all the weekend's football with those two from Monday morning at 6 o'clock. Stuart Pearce is around as well. And if music is your thing and you'd rather have a couple of tunes to accompany your breakfast in the morning, then Chris Evans is on Virgin Radio from 6:30 every single morning. And if you download the Virgin Radio app, you can access that, or you can hear it on DAB Digital Radio. We're about to get underway again. Cash has had his treatment and wants to come back on. Martinez is going to take a goal kick away to our left, and we're going to see Jacob Ramsey in the next few minutes here for Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Ball cleared by Martinez, up over the halfway line, a flick by Saka into the path of into the path of Ødegaard, and then Saka is sent on a scamper down the right side. He's not going to reach that, it's too heavy.
No, I mean, I reckon that's 6 times now I've seen a ball from either a full-back or a centre-back that's playing over the top to Trossard or to Saka, and it's too straight, it's got too much on it. That just needs to be caressed and floated and make sure that it lands in between the penalty area and the sideline to give your player a chance.
Buendia picking the ball up in the number 10 position for Aston Villa, trying to slide it through to Watkins. He doesn't manage to execute his pass with the kind of precision required either, and Arsenal have got it back again. It's been a little bit of a flatter second half than it was in the first 45 minutes because of the punctuations for injury, but Saka has picked it up again and now tried to go beyond Moreno, who's done a very good job on him so far in the game, although he's been quite physical in doing so. Zinchenko then comes forward. Trossard have made a run. They delayed the pass to him. Zinchenko's been allowed to run a very long way and then went tight infield when the space is so obviously out wide, and it's been nabbed by Douglas Luiz, and he's nudged the ball into the left channel for Watkins to race onto. He's taking on Saliba. Saliba's stuck to his task. He's driven Watkins wide this time. Watkins almost by the touchline, twisting, turning, still got the ball. Saliba eventually comes away with it, and Ødegaard has it now, and he comes forward, pokes it into midfield. A chance to counter-attack for Arsenal. It's on to Trossard left side. He moves at pace, but he comes infield again, looking now to switch it out towards the right. Saka takes it down. He's got support from Ødegaard. He's on the right edge of the area. He cuts in on his left foot. He tries a strike. It hits Mings. It comes back to Zinchenko. Is lifted over the top. White is chasing. Is he going to be able to keep it in again? Just about, you know. He goes over towards the touchline, then turns back in, tries to drive into the box. He's got Moreno for company. He's still going. He gets it back to Saka. Left for Ødegaard. All a little bit scrappy on the edge of the penalty area, but Arsenal eventually get back possession of the ball and go back to halfway. Jorginho over the top. In behind is Saka inside the area. He's being pulled and pushed by Kamara. It comes back to Nketiah. They're diving in everywhere. There's bodies flailing around on the floor. The ball ricochets behind and it goes for a corner.
Well, I just wonder whether Saka was thinking, go on, just that little barge in the back. I'm sure he might have just seen if the referee would make a decision. But actually Kamara does really well. He doesn't put his hands on the back of Saka. They close the space down. Bodies in the way. They've done that very well.
Ødegaard runs towards the edge of the penalty area, lays it back for Zinchenko. Wise up a strike. What a goal from Alex Zinchenko. No celebration. Get back to the halfway line. Get the job done. That's the instruction from the Ukrainian as he charges back into position, as Arsenal are dragged back into the game with a terrific effort from the edge of the box from Alex Zinchenko. They're not giving up this without a fight. It's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2.
It doesn't take much, does it, to get Zinchenko pumped up, but a goal like this will help. They take the short corner. It's been on all afternoon. They've overloaded that side. Odegaard to the edge of the box where nobody's out this time. There isn't. The Aston Villa body's in the way. Zinchenko picks his spot, drills it low into the near post, past Martinez, and then tells the rest of his teammates where to go. Get back into the half.
Ramsey on for Philippe Coutinho. That's the substitution. Arsenal back level again, 2-2 the score on a thrilling afternoon at Villa Park, and they refuse to lay down and be beaten. Oleg Zinchenko, who's been through so much on a football field and beyond because of his difficulties and family struggles with the war in Ukraine, is desperate to make his mark here. Cash into the penalty area from the right side. A good cross which is met by a black shirt rather than a claret and blue one, and it's cleared away eventually by Arsenal up to the halfway line. Now, the real mark of champions, Dean Ashton, is for Arsenal from here to go on and win it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been excellent in the second half. I mean, they moved the ball so quickly. They've not allowed Aston Villa really any opportunity to even break. And you're right. Now that you've got yourself level again, you can't waste this chance. You've got to go on and win the game. That's what champions do.
Here is Jorginho on the halfway line into Odegaard, looking to release Nketiah, who's in behind the defence. He goes across past the defender, shoots over the top of the goalkeeper and over the top of the bar as well. Well, he just didn't get set, did he? He probably needed to take it straight rather than trying to round the goalkeeper. Maybe hit it a little bit earlier, but he had one touch, maybe too many, and it took him into an area where he was no longer the favourite.
I tell you what, he's so interested in making sure he gets across Emery Konsa that he forgets about the angle that the ball needs to be. He forgets about that touch to take it across. And you're right, he actually hurts the angle. He makes it more difficult for himself. Then Martinez can come out and close him down. Then he's trying to clip it over the top rather than being able to slide it past the Aston Villa goalkeeper.
But Dean, that was exactly what you've been saying throughout the course of the game. Looking up, spotting his run early, getting him in behind. He's got the pace to trouble him.
He has. He's got the movement. He's got the clever runs. He's still just a little bit lax when it comes to that finishing.
They're looking for a threat here, Aston Villa, and they're going to make a change to try and find one. On comes Leon Bailey to try and add a little bit more purpose to the attack, which we've seen very little of in this second half. 64 gone. It's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2, live on Talksport. Arsenal trying to stick in the title race, trying to go back to the top of the table. They will go back to the top of the table even with a point here, ahead of Manchester City's game against Nottingham Forest. We will go round the grounds in 6 minutes' time to give you all the team news from the games that are taking place at 3 o'clock in the Premier League, and they're quite a few. But Zinchenko has sent it down the left for Trossard. Trossard towards the edge of the penalty area, clips across towards the far post. Saka was coming in underneath it, but it was headed away by Moreno. Back out towards the right it goes, and Ben White once again has it. Those long limbs of his turning the ball back to Odegaard, whose close control is exceptional. He skips past one challenge, gives it back to Saka, and then on to White once again. White trying to go round Kamara, who did well and robbed him, and then takes the ball into midfield, and all of a sudden they're away. And look at the space for John McGinn on this near side. Watkins has got it on the far left. McGinn's in acres on this near touchline if they can find him. It's squeezed towards that near side, but out comes Ramsdale, gathers the ball. And Aston Villa, who I think maybe chose the wrong option by going out wide left instead of wide right, miss an opportunity to counter-attack.
Yeah, I think it was the initial ball from Buendia. If he'd have looked up, there was more space for John McGinn on the right-hand side, as of course the two centre-backs were looking at Watkins' run.
Martinez again under pressure from Nketiah, puts the ball into the Arsenal crowd on the far side, and that noise you can hear is about 1,200, probably more than that, 2,500 Arsenal fans on the far side, top and bottom tier of the Doug Ellis stand in the corner, just trying to get behind their team and rev them up a little bit here. As 2 changes are made by Aston Villa's manager Unai Emery, who looks a little bit pensive on this near touchline. On come Bailey and Dendoncker for Buendia and Douglas Luiz. What will the impact of those changes be? Dean Ashton.
Well, Douglas Luiz is on a yellow card, so maybe that might be a point when you've got to be in there looking to intercept, looking to block. Dendoncker just a straight swap really for Douglas Luiz. Actually probably more defensive than Dendoncker as well, has played centre-back. And then Bailey gives you that extra bit of pace rather than Buendia on the break, because when the chances are going to come for Villa, it's going to be maybe 1 or 2 passes and in behind.
Gabriel Martinelli is about to come on as Arsenal look to respond with a change of their own. Trossard on the left side, trying to take on Matty Cash. He stumbles one way, then comes infield, switches the play out towards Saka far side. Saka dabs it back into White's path, 10 yards outside the box, and then it comes into midfield where it's collected by Jorginho. Out wide right, onto White's feet once more. He travels down the touchline, holds off Watkins, plays it towards Saka, who feels he was fouled, drew the foul from Moreno. The free kick is coming, and Simon Hooper now being spoken to by Granit Xhaka and asking whether or not there could be a yellow card here. Simon Hooper is one of those referees who tries to keep the game flowing as much as possible and doesn't like to book people.
Yeah, and I think he recognises that Bukayo Saka drew this foul. He's actually the one that's jumped into Moreno to try and protect the ball. Yes, it's a foul, but there's no way it's a yellow card.
Martinelli on for Leandro Trossard, and might be a key change that.
Well, let's see if being dropped is
he going to respond?
Exactly, he's a young player, there's no harm in being dropped at times. Let's see if he responds.
Free kick then for Arsenal, far side, yard in from touchline, and it's on the right as they look at it, so it'll be arced in left-footed by Ødegaard towards the penalty spot. The header is by Nketiah, back to Saka, and Saliba got in his way there as he went to hit it. It's back down the left in towards Gabriel, who's inside the penalty area looking for Martinelli, goes on the overlap, produces a cross, takes a deflection, it bobbles up into the arms of Martinelli, and it will be cleared away by the home team, who were leading twice in this match but have been paid back twice by the Gunners.
Arsenal's tempo has been absolutely relentless this half. They've been so good in terms of not allowing Aston Villa to get out, the pressure that they've put on, how quickly they've moved the ball. Ødegaard's been absolutely wonderful in that position as a number 10.
Well, they need 3 points, Arsenal, you feel, if they're going to continue their momentum towards a title charge, a title challenge with Manchester City, who at the moment are in front, but if Arsenal win their game in hand, they will have a cushion once again. It wasn't too long ago that they had a game in hand and a 5-point cushion. Things change quickly in this Premier League. Here's Bailey down towards the right-hand side for Aston Villa. A low ball into the box, which is steered away by Zinchenko into the hole 10. It's an Aston Villa corner, and there hasn't been too much of that during the course of this second half.
No, but Bailey would have liked that. Once it came out to this right-hand side and he got his head up and saw Gabriel 1v1, he'd prefer that than Zinchenko, who should have been out there. And again, drawing the centre-backs out of position, winning a corner.
Corner to be taken on the near touchline by John McGinn for Aston Villa. Arsenal, who have had a bright second half, do not want to be caught by a high ball into the box again. It's deep towards the far post, headed away by Gabriel. It bounces out into the centre field, and it's won by Zinchenko. Martinelli's been sent away. Cash is with him. Martinelli's got the better of him. He's got 4 coming at him from behind. He's got to hold on to the ball here, Martinelli. He's done a brilliant job. He's poked it through to Eddie Nketiah, who gave up the ghost.
Yeah, because he thought, you've had about 10 touches to pass to me. He was clear, Nketiah on the left-hand side. Martinelli's just got his head down, dribbling past 2 or 3 players, and then eventually tries the pass, at which point Nketiah's given up. He should have released it so much earlier.
Here comes Solly Watkins at the other end, being manhandled by Gabriel. It goes back towards the right side, and Leon Bailey tries to dance into the box. A left-footed shot, which is stopped by Zinchenko. It comes out towards the near side. 20 minutes to go in this game. Zinchenko's won it back in the left full-back position. Arsenal looking to come on the charge. It's switched out towards the far side. Are we going to have a massive grandstand finish in this game? The ball worked wide to Saka. Saka has it on the far side. Looks to combine with White, does that. Arsenal got men forward in the attack here. Xhaka is towards the far post. It's aimed in towards the near post. Takes a deflection, goes out for a corner. So we'll quickly go off. Batignus in one of our 2 o'clock kickoffs will start with the game involving Nottingham Forest, who have lost their 2 frontline centre-halves. But do the replacements come up against the Premier League's top scorer? We'll get there in just a second. Quickly taken corner kick by Ødegaard in towards the near post, headed away, and it goes out on this near side. Let's get to Jeff Peters.
Yes, Bolly and McKenna, the latest to join Forest treatment room. Worrell and Felipe replaced them today at the back. Danilo, Colback and Shelvey start. Mangala, Scarpa and Wood make way. Laporte and Foden come in for Man City. Ake and Mahrez drop to the bench.
Back here it's still 2-2 and it's collected by Kamara on the halfway line. He moves down the left channel and plays it in towards McGinn. McGinn out towards the right and it's collected by Bailey. Bailey tries to dance his way past Gabriel and play it back to Clash, whose ball into the box is cut out easily by Zinchenko, and they steer it away to halfway, and a counter-attack is on again, and Saka is speeding away down the right. Ødegaard has found him. He runs up towards Moreno and he's on the edge of the box here. He pokes it back infield towards Ødegaard and looks for the return. It's a little bit difficult to deal with that. It's played against the defender, I think, and went out for a corner. The referee has given a goal kick.
They couldn't see it.
Chelsea have kept 3 clean sheets in 4 at home. Southampton make as many good decisions in front of goal as the ball do in the corridor of powers. Another 0-0, Alex Crook.
I wouldn't rule it out, Sam. Despite their lack of goals, still no Aubameyang in the Chelsea squad. The hosts also without James, Thiago Silva, Loftus-Cheek, Ziyech, while Mudryk and Havertz both drop to the bench. Mason Mount among those who come in, as the hosts make half a dozen changes. 3 alterations for Saints. Bella Kotchap, Stuart Armstrong and El Yunusi all restored to the starting lineup.
Arsenal on the front foot again. Oh, that's a good ball by Jorginho into Nketiah, who did well to keep it alive. Ødegaard sweeps it wide to the right. Saka is offside. The linesman flag eventually goes up, so we'll go off to the game at the Amex. Brighton, Fulham locked in 6th and 7th on the same points, and it should be some game this, Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, and who would have predicted those league positions at the start of the season? The headline here is that Alexander Mitrovic is not in the Fulham squad. He's the only change and is replaced by Harry Wilson. Also one change for the home side. Evan Ferguson comes in for Deniz Undav, who moves to the bench.
Brentford haven't lost a Premier League game since October. Palace haven't won one in 2023. Team news from their clash comes from James Filden.
Yeah, Brentford revert to the same team that started here against Southampton 2 weeks ago as Hickey, Visser and De Silva start. Palace make 2 changes with Albert Sambi Lokonga making his first start in place of Will Hughes. Joachim Andersen replaces the absent James Tompkins.
Back here it's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2, and we've got just over 16 minutes to go on Talksport. In our live and exclusive national radio commentary, another 2 changes incoming for Unai Emery. And they're going to bring on Luca Digne and Jean Duran, the Colombian striker. Martinelli's just missed his tackle and Cash has escaped into opposition territory. Bailey with the ball to the edge of the box, cut out by White. Kamara wins it once again. There's a bit more zip about Aston Villa now since their first initial changes. Bailey jumps in, left-footed, tries to wander towards the edge of the box. He's been allowed to travel a very long way, scoops the ball over the top. Zinchenko heads it back to his goalkeeper and he will be able to clear. We've got a seismic clash on Talksport 2, Everton against Leeds from 3 o'clock. Annie and Danta has the selection details.
Just one change for Everton from the Merseyside derby that you watched, Sam. Mopai preferred to Sims up front. Sims drops to the bench, and despite losing to Manchester United at home last Sunday, Leeds are unchanged for their visit to Goodison Park. Live on Talksport 2 at 3. It's Everton against Leeds.
Ben White fouled to release Saka, and Saka was straying into an offside position. He delayed and lost the ball, and as a result of that, Villa on the counter now with John McGinn weaving his way into a shooting position. Left-footed shot, which is easily caught by Aaron Ramsdale. So we'll go to Molineux, where Julian Lopetegui has made a real impact. Only Liverpool and City have beaten Wolves in 90 minutes in 2023. What chance have Bournemouth got this afternoon, Adam Bridge?
Not a lot. A real tough one for the Premier League's worst away side. 2 changes today for the resurgent home team. Lemina's red card against Southampton sees him replaced by Traore, and Bueno is in for Ait-Nouri. Bournemouth make 1 change from the draw with Newcastle. Tavernier comes in for Anthony.
Adrian Durham will take you round the grounds from 2:30 here on Talksport, and we've got 15 minutes of great football to play. Here's Martinelli in behind Cash. Cash gets hold of the ball and puts it out for a corner. Martinelli did have a little glance at Simon Hooper, asking maybe for a free kick, realised he wasn't going to get there. And he did get a whack for his troubles.
No, it's a great race, wasn't it? A proper sprint off between Martinelli and Cash. I'd have to say 50-50. Cash just about getting a touch.
So I'm going to have those substitutions. Another short corner taken. Odegaard gets it towards Saka, edge of the area. Runs loose inside the box. Not great defending. Everybody switched off a little bit there for a second. It felt a little bit like everyone had stopped.
Yeah, it felt like Saka could have taken a touch there on the edge of the box and then picked his spot.
Zinchenko's made a run in behind. Ramsdale has sent it long, high up towards the edge of the penalty area. And it's into the arms of Emi Martinez. Still, John Duran and Luca Digne are waiting on this near touchline. Ollie Watkins and Alex Moreno are going to be the two players that are replaced by Unai Emery in just a second. But I'm getting a bit chilly, I think, standing there. Oh, and Nketiah has robbed Konza, edge of the area, back to Odegaard. Oh, he's missed from the penalty spot. A turnover. Nketiah robbing Konza, squaring into Odegaard. And when he had to score, he sent it wide of the left-hand upright. The captain Odegaard, so often the inspiration, has missed a massive chance for Arsenal to take the lead in the game for the first time.
Well, there's no point looking at the ground, Martin. It is not going to open up. This is the easiest chance you'll ever have. Rolled across the penalty spot, no pressure whatsoever, on your favoured left foot, and he just drags it horribly wide of Martinez's goal. He cannot believe that he has missed that.
That is what he is talking about, Mikel Arteta, when he says you've got to be ruthless in both boxes. You have to be, as he said 7 times during his press conference yesterday, efficient. That was inefficient in the extreme. Digne and John Duran are on.
Eddie Nketiah, by the way, he's just one of those strike. You can't dawdle with him around. Honestly, he's so alive to that situation.
Will there be one more chance for Arsenal in the next 12 minutes of the game? That was a massive one. Can't believe that Odegaard, who has been in recent good goal-scoring form as well, to be fair. He's a top Premier League goal scorer has been a top Premier League goal scorer for Arsenal for a time. His 13 goal involvements in his last 21 Premier League games. He's the heartbeat of the team. But he is guilty of missing a wonderful opportunity. Granit Xhaka coming off, Tomiyasu coming on. I'm guessing that means a shift around, which does it mean Zinchenko will go into midfield and Tomiyasu will play left back? He's played left centre half. Vieira's coming on as well.
Ben White's gone off the other side.
Ben White's gone off. So it's going to be Tomiyasu going on the right hand side and Vieira into midfield to add a little bit more creativity, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look, they need that goal. That was the chance, wasn't it? But still, I think Vieira will bring, I'd say, a bit more creativity.
Here comes John McGinn at the other end, though, sliding it through to Bailey inside the area, left-footed, tries to go one way, then the other. He's blocked by a really good challenge from Gabriel, and it had to be, and it's cleared out. That's a big challenge on Zinchenko by McGinn. It goes behind the way for a goal kick, but Arsenal have the ball. The Aston Villa fans believe that there's still 3 points available for them in this game, but it's Arsenal who need them more desperately, you would have thought. Jorginho.
I've got to say, what defending, by the way, from Gabriel, because so many players have fallen for that. The little shimmy that Leon Bailey gives him. He wants to go on the left and then can cut back on the right. Brilliant defending.
Here come Arsenal once again, and it's Martinelli into Vieira, the substitute, back to Jorginho, midway inside opposition territory. Listening to Talksport. And Arsenal desperate to try and win this game, try and funnel it out to Saka, who's on the right angle of the penalty area. It's into Odegaard, then back to Saka, towards Martinelli, who was queuing up for a volley, didn't reach it because Cash intervened brilliantly and took the ball away. Zinchenko, who scored the equaliser, turns it back to Fabio Vieira. Unai Emery's almost on the pitch and acts as an extra player. They're not going to get away with that, fella. Ball's back out on the right-hand side. It's collected by Saka and then into Jorginho, and the run by Tomiyasu is a good one. At the far post, Vieira is lurking, but the cross wasn't accurate enough, and it's blocked by Mings, and it's out on the far side. They've given it away again, though. Jorginho does his best to get hold of it. He used his hand. And it's going to be a free kick just in front of the penalty area away to our left-hand side. What a fantastic match it's been. It's been absorbing once again, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. It has. Brilliant ball in behind for Tomiyasu. And I just watched Nketiah. He played hide and seek with Tyrone Mings. He waited until Tyrone Mings just turned his face away, and then he darted into that near post area. But Tomiyasu couldn't find him.
Well, a win for Aston Villa takes them level on points with 10th place Chelsea, who play against Southampton a little bit later on. Adrian is based at Stamford Bridge today. And they may well be eyeing up a place in the top half of the table if they continue to put results together, if not performances, like they have done over recent weeks. Saliba onto Jorginho. Out wide it goes into the feet of Ødegaard. Arsenal have different prizes to chase. Saka doesn't get on the end of the back heel from Ødegaard, and now they can bring the ball forward with Jacob Ramsey up towards John Duran, who receives it, pokes it back. The former Chicago Fire striker, they've got him from the MLS. Switched out towards the right side. Bailey's taking it down brilliantly. He's kept it in, and now he's running towards the Arsenal goal. Right footed off the crossbar, comes back out, and Arsenal have just about survived.
What a save. What a save this is from Aaron Ramsdale. Honestly, it's brilliant from Leon Bailey. The touch, the strike with the right foot, fingertip save onto the bar.
Here is Saka on the right side, trying to jink his way to the edge of the box. He goes down under pressure from Jacob Ramsey. It's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box, but what an opportunity out of the sky on the halfway line. Bailey brought it under control. He then raced forward into the penalty area with his right foot. You're right, Aaron Ramsdale gets his arms up at just the right time and gets the tiniest flick on it, which steers it onto the crossbar. Vital.
The main reason I know is because he always celebrates when he makes a save, doesn't he, Ramsdale? It was a brilliant save, though. The power in the shot from Bailey. I thought he'd bypass Ramsdale, but the fingertips were up to flick it onto the crossbar.
7.5 minutes to go. Ødegaard looking for movement inside the box. Zinchenko at the far post. Tomiyasu is in there wrestling with McGinn. It's flicked in towards the head of Gabriel, and he steered it over the top of the crossbar. What a chance that was.
It's another huge chance for Arsenal that's gone. Great ball in from Ødegaard, just far enough away so Martinez doesn't know what to do. Over the top of Mings. All Gabriel's got to do is glance it, and I don't know why. He's twisting away for no reason, twisting away from the ball. Therefore, he's almost got a corkscrew-like spin on the header and over the top.
Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2, and for the latest odds you can head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Aston Villa to win the game at 10-1. Yellow card for Emi Martinez for wasting time. 12-5 Arsenal. The draw is 9-4 on. It's all thanks to Betfair. 18+, begambleaware.org. You're listening to Talksport. Sam Manderface and Dean Ashton at Aston Villa's Villa Park today, and it's been a thriller at the Villa. No, I'm not talking about Love Island. The ball is loose inside opposition territory. John Duran tries to bring it down. He uses his hand to do so. That's going to be a free kick just in front of the Arsenal penalty area. They've had two big chances, Gabriel and Ødegaard. Those are the moments that could define the title race.
Well, they are. I mean, like I said, in the games that they've dropped points in recently, they've had the chances there. I can think of Nketiah, who's had a few chances in recent games against Manchester City and Everton.
Ødegaard travelling with the ball, trying to release Nketiah towards the edge of the box. His ball into the box takes a deflection. It comes off Konza and it goes behind, and it's away for another corner to Arsenal.
You've got to say they've played well, though, haven't they, Arsenal? They've been so good. I mean, the pressure that Villa have put on them, but they've just played their way through. They've kept playing in the style that's been so good for them. And they have created those chances. They've still got to believe.
Vieira lurks on the edge of the D. Saka places the ball down in the quadrant on the far side. Needs a decent delivery. He's got Saliba to aim at, Martinelli to aim at. Tomiyasu's causing problems inside the penalty area. He's being watched by John McGinn, who's got his arms all around him. It's aiming towards Gabriel. A better header required this time. He heads it against the defender and it pops out towards the near side, and instead Bailey races away with the ball. Across comes Nketiah. Nketiah won't let him escape. He's down by the corner flag now. He's being hemmed in by a combination of Martinelli and Nketiah, and he's kicked the ball out of play under pressure, and it's going to be an Arsenal throw. 2 balls on the pitch. Zinchenko, who is one of those characters who just doesn't believe the job is done until it's done, throws the ball in towards Vieira, back to Saliba. Saliba looks up. They need to switch the angle again towards that right side. Pressure from Kamara on Jorginho, but he finds Tomiyasu. Wider it goes now onto Ødegaard, who jinks in one way, and then Tomiyasu is available to his right. He goes centrally instead, and now Jorginho with a fizzing pass into the box for Saka to fire a shot straight at the goalkeeper under real pressure from claret shirts behind him. What a chance that was for Bukayo Saka.
Absolute eye of a needle pass from Jorginho. I mean, he just really fizzes that in to Saka's feet, who takes a superb touch into his path. Oh, and then he just bobbles the opportunity. You know, he's been so good throughout the season in those situations, and he's just bobbled it into Martinez's body.
Bukayo with a chance to put Arsenal in front, but he's not the only one who is missing chances today. I just wonder whether or not he's still carrying that injury a little bit. He's still hobbling over on the far side, Dean. Here's Jorginho running through the centre circle, waiting for a bit of movement from Saka. He gets there in the end, and Saka takes it back into Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu, he's got shirts to aim at in front of him, but not enough movement from those black shirts. And now Martinelli's got on the dart. Zinchenko has to hold on to the ball, and Martinelli tries to squeeze between both Dendoncker and McGinn emerges with the ball and then fires it forward. Saliba wins it. Gabriel has it. Arsenal have got 3 minutes plus stoppage time to try and find a winner. Otherwise, they're dropping more points. And they've dropped points recently against Everton and Manchester City, and they can't afford to keep doing so. They've dropped points against Brentford in the last couple of games. They need to make sure that they get a victory here. They've missed key chances in this match. Ødegaard's missed a sitter. Saka's not managed to fire in a chance when he had the opportunity to. Nketiah has had 1 or 2 chances, and Gabriel missed a header. And as the ball goes into the box, it's easily gloved by Martinez, this time under pressure from Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez is very, very good at this, I have to say. Any crosses that are put in anywhere near him, he comes and claims. You've got to keep that away from him. You've got to keep it flatter with more pace to not allow him to come out and claim those.
He talked about taking your chances. He talked about opportunity. Mikel Arteta has seen those opportunities come and go today, and Arsenal have not grabbed them. Martinez picks the ball up inside his 18-yard box after drawing Eddie Nketiah. Martinez wants to get the ball clear. Right-footed, he smashes it over the halfway line. We're into the 89th minute of the game. It's 2-2 between Aston Villa and Arsenal on Talksport. Konza back to his goalkeeper. Ødegaard shutting him down. Martinez clears it again. And it's going to be away by Gabriel. Nketiah chesting it under pressure from Cash. And then there was a challenge on Eddie Nketiah. The referee gives a free kick and Arsenal get things moving quickly. Jorginho, Ødegaard, the ball's moving. Oh, you're kidding me, right? We've got to go back to the other side. Simon Hooper's stopped the play, and then we've got to go back towards the left-hand side.
Oh, it's pedantic as well, isn't it?
It's unnecessary. It was just taken that was half a minute ago. Come on. Arsenal got no time to complain. They have to continue. They do that. Tomiyasu up towards the halfway line. Into Saliba. Saliba back to Gabriel. The Arsenal fans looking a little bit disappointed over on that far touchline as they look to try and build again. Another chance maybe. Something right at the end of the game. We're nearly into stoppage time at the end of the 90. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2. Spurn chances once more for Arsenal are going to come back to haunt them. The ghosts of managers past may well haunt them, but there are 6 minutes of added time for them to try and find a way. Try and find a chance that can steer them back to the top of the table, and with 3 points that will keep them in the hunt. They'll still be top with a point. Unai Emery's going absolutely crackers down in front of us, but Arsenal have the ball. Vieira in the centre circle, looking to lift it for Martinelli, who's timed his run well. He's in towards the area now, and he tries to play it against McGinn. It's a corner.
I wonder whether he was offside though. McGinn's adamant that he was. He tried to bend his run, Martinelli, but he's right in front of us here, and I just thought he'd strayed slightly.
Short corner into Zinchenko from Martinelli. Martinelli gets it back again. He takes on Ramsey but plays it to Ødegaard. Zinchenko gets back into an onside position, then wanders to the edge of the Villa penalty area. They need it in the box. Ødegaard. Martinelli again, tight on the left touchline, attacking the flags. He goes to go past Ramsey. Ramsey, it was a poor challenge that. Lucky to get away with it, and he brings the ball away and brings it clear to halfway, and now there's an overload on the far side, and John Duran is bursting into the box down this right side. They haven't paid him enough attention. He's shot to the far stick, saved by Ramsdale, comes back out to Bailey, and Bailey, turning away from the penalty area, is chased by Saliba out to the far side. But John Duran went running down the right-hand side. Everyone gravitated to Bailey, and that just opened up the gap for him to charge into.
But he just took too long, I thought. He took so many touches to get to the edge of the box. He'd almost run out of pace in the end, and the angle was poor.
They've won it again, Villa. Digne towards the edge of the box. McGinn brings it down. Tries to keep Villa on the front foot, but Arsenal have won it through Jorginho. And then Saka looking to release Nketiah. The ball isn't good enough, but Tyrone Mings is there. Arsenal with Leicester to play next, Everton, Bournemouth, and then the Europa League fixtures start to return. It's a busy spell of the season, not the type of spell where you want to start dropping points. And it's going to be a rare draw between these two unless someone can find a winner. Only one of the last 21 have ended all square. Saka trying to come up with something that will ensure this one doesn't. He's got support from Tomiyasu. Goes to Ødegaard. Zinchenko. Martinelli. They're all flooding into the box now. Martinelli down the left side, jinks it on his right foot, pulls it back for Jorginho. His right-footed shot, it hits the top of the crossbar, hits the defender and goes in. It came off the back of Martinez. It's an own goal, but it's a major goal for Arsenal, who celebrate wildly. And when they absolutely had to score, they have somehow, by hook, by crook, by own goal if necessary. Jorginho's hits the crossbar, comes back out, off Martinez and in, and Arsenal are going to win away at Aston Villa again.
Well, sometimes people say you make your own luck, but you need it regardless, and they get a big stroke of it here. It's a wonderful strike from Jorginho. It cuts across his body. He arrows it towards the top corner. Ricochets off the crossbar, hits the back of Martinez's head and flies into the back of the net. Could that be a defining moment in the title race for Arsenal?
Jorginho, signed for £12 million from Chelsea in January, has just paid back every penny of that fee. An effort which rattled the crossbar, came back down, hit Martinez on the back, went in, and it's 3-2 to Arsenal. And the Arsenal analysts, I think, who were up in this press box area where we are, celebrated that goal wildly. And the Aston Villa staff, who are very close to them, are having a go at them back. And now the fans are getting involved behind us as well. And the stewards are just taking the temperature out of it because it's all gone off.
I mean, it's been charged in here all game, hasn't it? It's been charged on the pitch, it's been charged in the crowd, and tempers have run over a little bit behind us. It's poor to see, but it's been a wonderful, wonderful game. It's been brilliant start to the weekend's football.
Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 2. This is the first time that they have been ahead in this football match. There's no better time to take the lead. They ain't giving up this title race without a fight. That is 100% sure. Mikel Arteta and his team have somehow summoned enough energy to find a winner in this match. They've had their chances. They deserve their chance to win this game. Ødegaard should have scored, so should have Gabriel. Maybe so should have Nketiah. Somehow Jorginho has forced an error from Martinez. He didn't know anything about it. It's not really his fault. But it's a goal as big as a house. It's massive. Emi Martinez has the ball inside his arms. He wants to shoot it clear. The stewards are still surrounding the Arsenal staff away to that right-hand side, who are having to be protected because the Aston Villa fans aren't happy about them celebrating that goal. But on the pitch, that goal was celebrated wildly. Granit Xhaka came off the bench and ran towards the Arsenal fans across the pitch. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. Gigantic 3 points for Arsenal at a crucial time of the season. Here's Jorginho trying to stop Aston Villa from coming forward. But come forward they do. We played 7 minutes of added time. Bailey down the right, trying to push the ball back in field. Bailey tries to turn, left-footed towards the far post. Into the air it goes, headed down and away by Saliba. It's out for a corner on the far side, or does it go out for a corner? Eventually it does. It's a corner to Aston Villa. 52 minutes played. 3-2 Arsenal lead.
Martinez up to redeem himself. He was so unlucky with that goal.
He trots into the penalty area. There's a big orange blob trying to occupy the Arsenal defence. Can they hold firm here? High balls into the box have caused them problems recently. They've got to see this through. 52 minutes and 10 seconds of the second half have been played. The corner on the far side, whipped towards the edge of the 6-yard box, away by Saliba. Vieira is running clear. There's an open goal to Amat. Martinelli is running through. He steers him through the centre. Martinelli's running through. He's going to finish it for a fourth. Martinelli scores. 4-2, 3 points. Game over. Bench wild. Arsenal are in the title hunt. Make no mistake about it. They've raced away to score a clinching goal, and any tension that was left over after they scored their third is no longer present. It's Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4, and Martinelli gets a crucial goal.
And now they can relax. Finally, Arsenal in a ridiculous game of football. Of course, they was going to take that risk when Martinez went up, and Martinelli, who had been dropped for Trossard in this game, gets just an absolute gift. Vieira is so unselfish, he could go for goal himself. He lays it into the path of Martinelli, who celebrates before he even puts it in the back of the net, because he knows he will not miss when he just runs and side foots that in for Arsenal.
8 minutes had been played of stoppage time when Martinelli went racing through. He went running through the middle of the pitch to receive Vieira's pass. He couldn't miss the open goal that had been left by Emi Martinez, who went up to attack the corner. And 4-2 will be the final score. Simon Hooper blows the whistle to restart the game, and then blows it again to finish the game. A vital victory at a vital time. Arsenal had slipped, they had wandered into trip hazards and pitfalls, but they are standing tall again, albeit not without a few mishaps. They are back on top of the Premier League for now, and are ready to slug it out with Manchester City between now and the end of the season. It takes character, it takes belief to come here, to miss chances and still find a way to win this game. But that's exactly what Arsenal have done. It's 3 defeats in a row for Aston Villa, who remain in the bottom half of the table. But crucially, Arsenal are back on top. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4.